And Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now. 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Hi, welcome in. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It's another live edition. We're off and we are ready to go. And here we go with our Thursday edition. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond hanging out until 9 a.m. And a lot of good stuff on the docket today. All these SEC coaches are continuing to make their rounds, and a lot of them just keep talking and talking and talking on various different networks and shows. Jimbo Fisher, Eli Drinkwitz, Lane Kiffin, all talking big stuff. And I don't know, is there a particular one that you would like to start with of those three?
Well, of course. I mean, we always want to hear from Dirt Neck and find out how many lies he told. So I heard that he was on the Colin Cowherd show and basically bloviating about how good Texas A&M's campus was and their program was, and other lines of bloviation that he's good at.
Colin asked him a wide array of questions. Did Colin on to Jimbo Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one that we hear is his relationship with Nick Saban.
Of course.
How is his relationship with Nick?
Yeah, me and Nick, we're past. We're moved past it.
Okay.
You understand something? We drank the same water growing up. When you're coming from West Virginia, you're fighting, scratching, clawing for everything you got. We have, and people in our state and where I grew up and the way I grew up, what was on your mind came out your lips, okay? And then you moved in 5 minutes later, you said what you said, and you either fought over it, got in a fight over it, and then played 5 minutes later, or you said okay, and you walked off and you played 5 minutes later. He's the same. You know, we're cut from the same cloth. We're both competitive, and that's just the way it is. I mean, and I have respect for Nick, like I said before, and we're fine, 100%.
The question was, if Nick called you, would you pick up the phone? And he obviously said yes.
Well, I mean, he would need to, because without Nick Saban, he doesn't have $96 million in the bank. I can guarantee you that, because he rose to power because of what he did under Coach Saban at LSU as offensive coordinator. He used that springboard to become the coach in waiting at Florida State. Then he took over for Bobby Bowden, won a national championship after Gus Malzahn gift-wrapped it for him. Then he left the program in shambles, and he's basically hoodwinked the Texas A&M people into thinking he's an elite head coach and going to lead their program to the promised land. Maybe he will. I mean, as I've said, there's he was able to climb the mountain. At FSU, though, I think a lot of it was the weak sauce ACC, where he was able to navigate and get to the playoff. SEC is not the ACC in football. I think he's finding that out. He's had one good year at ATM. Otherwise, it's been nothing but 4-loss mediocrity. We'll see. He certainly recruited well with the collective last year, and he's evaded that and dodged it and basically denied it and things of that nature, which is ridiculous. I mean, everybody knows why ATM, signed the class they did last year. It wasn't because of the program Jimbo Fisher's building. Yes, they have great facilities. There's no doubt about it. They have boosters with deep pockets. They certainly do. But the main reason that they signed 7 5-stars is because they paid for them. Okay? That's the bottom line. I think if it's all about timing, but a couple of those guys would have ended up at other schools with the way NIL's taken off, especially with Mario Cristobal in play, with Shamar Stewart in Miami. Probably wouldn't have gotten away with that kid if Mario had another year. But again, we'll see. I think just because you have talent doesn't mean you're going to win. At FSU, everything had to fall in place perfectly for him to win a national championship, because I think he's an average coach. I don't think he's a great developer of talent. I think he's a good recruiter. Now, great recruiter, I don't know, but good recruiter, yeah, because he had talented rosters at Florida State. There's no doubt about that. But again, I think he's an average coach. I've always thought he was average. Just because you have a couple of good years at FSU and one good year at Texas A&M does not mean you're an elite head coach. But certainly we'll see how it goes. I don't think he had a lot of discipline in his program at Florida State. I think that's why that when he left, it's just been like scorched earth. I know Willie Taggart has taken criticism and Mike Norvell, but I think both of them were kind of trying to clean up a mess. Now, I don't think Willie Taggart was a great fit. I think that's why he's now at Florida Atlantic. Mike Norvell, that's still to play itself out. He came over from Memphis, and Florida State's had difficulty hiring elite coaches because of their commitment level. And that's why Mark Stoops didn't come over there. But again, I'm just not a fan of Dirt Neck, a.k.a. Jimbo. And the things that come out of his mouth, I mean, to me, he'd fail a lie detector test.
All right, so Colin asked him to sell the Texas A&M program. If he
Right.
was a recruit, sell the program. This was how Jimbo sold Texas A&M.
Listen, here's what A&M has. It has the most complete package of any school in the country. When you're talking about culture of university, this place is unbelievable. When you get here and you'll see it, the commitment that people have. It's top 20 educational school in the country. Education's through the roof. The commitment that we have made to for instance, right now, we're building a new $160 million facility right now that's going to be state-of-the-art, which no one in the country is going to have for your personal development and what we have. We have coaches that won the 5 coaches that have won the national championship. Ooh. We have coaches that have put as many NFL players in the NFL as we can. Afterwards, you're talking about this. We're the 6th richest school in the country with an $18 billion endowment for life after ball. You're talking about one of the 2 largest alumni associations in the country at 550,000 alums. There's 109,000 people at every game. You're playing an SEC schedule each and every time. And here's the important thing. Do you want to go somewhere that has won a championship, or you want to be the first to do it? The people you remember, the guys that really make a difference in the world, are the guys that are the first to do it. If you go somewhere else and just be another guy, you're just another guy. Come here and be the first guy to ever do it and set the standard for a new organization. Those are the ones that got statues outside that they talk about all the time.
There you go. His recruiting pitch to go to Texas A&M.
Yeah, it obviously wasn't the one at Florida State, because who was the first one to win one at Florida State?
Well, he was talking about just A&M.
I know,
just A&M.
but I'm just saying, I'm talking about spin. He obviously didn't recruit that way at FSU, because Coach Bowden won a couple of national championships before he had a horseshoe up his ass and won one. But I'm just saying, he's spinning it. I mean, he's like, okay, come here and win the first one since they've had bars on the helmets, because when they won the last one in 1939, they didn't have bars on them.
No, in fact, this is what's interesting. You look at Texas A&M as a whole. They were picked to finish 2nd in the West this coming year.
Yeah, by the media, yep.
Okay. Texas A&M, since joining the SEC, you know what their record is in the league? Since joining the SEC, since leaving the Big 12,
yeah,
Texas A&M is only 34-30.
Mediocrity.
They are only 4 games. Now, I get it. They had, Kevin Sumlin was there, Jimbo Fisher. It's not like they
have the same record, by the way, at the same point. I'm just saying, people try to downplay it and say it's a tougher SEC and blah, blah, blah. What's the record? That's all I know.
We talk about Texas A&M being a legitimate national championship contender every year.
Yep.
It's like, okay, we talked about Georgia the same way, but Georgia's record was a whole lot better over a 5-year stretch than what Texas A&M has been. They just couldn't get over the hump of getting past that SEC championship game, winning a playoff game, and winning the national championship. But Kirby had produced a lot of regular season wins and had come close, and Mark Richt had come close. Texas A&M, 1998. That is the last
Big
time
12, yeah.
they had won a Big 12 championship. 1998.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
They are far away, a ways away from winning it.
Well,
we pencil them in there. Why is that? Why do
people are gonna. The counterpoint they're gonna make is Georgia's been having to navigate the East, which has been a lot weaker than the West.
Right.
That's one point you can make. But you can also say again that Texas A&M has always had deep-pocketed boosters. They've always had money. They just don't hire the right coaches. And, R.C. Slocum did win that Big 12 title, and they've had a good program. They haven't been bad.
No, it's an average
program. It's just one that's, they do a lot of talking and not a lot of walking.
I was going to say, do the expectations meet the reality?
Not really. And there's
a lot of programs in the country that we can say that.
Yeah, and so far it's been much of the same under Jimbo that it was under Sumlin, and that it has been since they got to the SEC. It's just it has not, the rubber hasn't met the road, so to speak.
All right, Ryan's with us this morning. Good morning, Ryan.
Morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just wanted two questions. It's going to be one just about Alabama, but since this is a Texas A&M focused discussion right now, Drew, I may have been the only one that caught it, but I like your acronymed assessment of ATM University this morning, so I think that's very fitting for their school. So I'll just move on from that. But for Alabama, do you think the expectations are greater this year than they were for the team when Mac Jones and company won it all?
Not really.
Seem like, you don't think so?
I think they're the same every year under Nick Saban. The expectation is to win every game and win the national championship. You don't, but with what he's done since 2008, really, when the expectations were not as high going into that year because they had gone 7-6. But I'm just saying with the results of the 2008 season, where they nearly went to the national championship game, losing to the Gators in 2008, and then building on it and winning it all in 2009. Since 2008 and 2009, back to back, every year the expectations have been the same at Alabama. Pretty much Alabama fans have been expecting to win at the highest level under Coach Saban since he got it rolling.
Yeah, that's the standard. All right, I'm probably going to get a polo shirt with ATM University, so talk to you later.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, Ryan.
Yeah. By the way, you've adopted Texas ATM back a little bit ago, so it's all part of the Druinary that we have as far. But yeah, Texas ATM there. I just find that interesting when we talk about expectations around certain programs, that we pencil a lot of these programs. Kentucky has achieved more over the last 2 seasons, and I get it because they're in the East. But they have achieved more as a program than Texas A&M has, because they've got 10-win seasons.
Well, they've had 10-win seasons in 2 of the last 4. Now A&M, remember, they did win 9 in 20. So
right.
that
was the COVID year.
Yeah, they had in 2 years ago. They did have the one good year under Dirtneck. Other than that, it's been 4 losses, and they've been out of it, pretty early. And that's the thing people forget. Last year, They upset Alabama, but they were on a 2-game losing streak. They were pretty much already out of the division race when they beat the Crimson Tide, and they threw everything in that game, which is what they were doing already, because the headline of the offseason was Dirtneck saying, we're going to beat Alabama, which, for once, he didn't lie, which that should have been, they should have made a T-shirt for that saying, well, Jimbo Fisher didn't lie, give him a Hershey's Kiss or something. I don't know, but I'm just saying, and maybe they're going to live up to it this year. I certainly didn't pick them second. I know that you just talked about that. The media poll was second place ATM. I picked them 4th because I don't think they're that good yet. I think they're talented. They certainly aren't going to go what I wish, which is 0-12. They got too many good players to do that, and even Jimbo couldn't screw that up. But they'll they won't have a losing record. They got too much talent to do that. Something would have to really go off the rails for that to happen. But I think overall they'll still go to a bowl game. They'll still have a solid year. But I'm not buying the fact that they're going to push Alabama in the SEC West. I think Arkansas has got a lot of good players back, a good coaching staff. They beat them last year and ended that little hex where it seemed like Texas A&M had their number and beat them, every year in a close game. But they got over the hump. And then, again, I like LSU. They're my sleeper in the West. I think coaching matters. I think Brian Kelly's better than Dirtneck. So that's why I've got them winning that game. I've got Alabama beating Texas A&M, hopefully 65-0. Probably won't be that bad, but I hope it's a shellacking. but
Keep
we'll
in mind,
see.
ESPN says 8-4 as well.
Yeah, and we talked about that. Yeah,
says
their
8-4.
probability was, I think, 7.5 to 8 wins.
Yeah.
So they obviously don't think that ATM is going to live up to expectations, or at least the championship ones that the fans have right now after they bought a recruiting class.
All right, we promise, and I promise, the show is not all Texas A&M.
Right.
Jimbo was on the Colin Cowherd show, and
He's an easy target right now for me.
he is. But throughout the show, we're going to hear from Eli Drinkwitz.
Yeah.
He was on Jim Rome. He poked the bear at Tennessee a little bit.
There you go.
Actually, not a little bit. He poked the bear at Tennessee a whole lot. And we'll let you listen to that. And Lane Kiffin was on Get Our First Take yesterday. He had some stuff to say about name, image, and likeness.
And Matt Corral had interesting comments.
Yeah, and he has since retracted those and said, I did not mean exactly what I said. I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, let's get our first break in, because when we come back, we'll talk some Alabama football recruiting. A lot to get to there. We got a lot of stuff to get to, and we only got 2 hours to do it.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It sounds like they've had somebody run from a state trooper on foot around Greenbrier and Old Highway 20. Got a large law enforcement presence in that area. Everything else seems to be moving along pretty good this morning. Haven't picked up anything new accident-wise. We did have a vehicle hit a building on Johnson Road near West Scrimshire. No injury reported. Dr. Sandman has the Somnodent, a safe, insurance-approved alternative for snoring and sleep apnea. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
There goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way, hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
And now a small business setback, delivered by a kind French stranger.
Monsieur, there was an accident. The windshield of your catering van is, how do you say, kaput? But Progressive has an extensive network of repair shops. Now, we sing about the old days. Brave marin revient de guerre.
When things go wrong with your small business, it's comforting to know you have Progressive Commercial. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Croissance for everyone.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Mercury Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, Mercury Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back to Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you, 7:22 on a Thursday morning. Safe travels into work wherever you may be headed. In about another week, we'll be able to add to school as school is getting ready to commence all across the Tennessee Valley. High school football practices ongoing throughout the Tennessee Valley as well. So if you are one of those high school kids that is practicing, make sure you hydrate, stay hydrated, because it is still a little warm out there. And while we got high school kids going through training camp, going through all that, the college training camps are getting ready to start here very soon. NFL training camps are getting ready to start soon. But on that high school level, a lot of these kids that are going to camp right now are the ones that are committing for next year on the high school, for the college scene as well. And Alabama picking up some yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. They picked up a huge piece yesterday, literally and figuratively. We kind of previewed a little bit on Talking Ball yesterday and said that we could have good news for both schools, and we do for Alabama and Auburn. And Alabama, they've been on a roll kind of in the last couple of months under Nick Saban. They've risen in the 24/7 Sports composite from all the way to number 5 with the commitment of Caleb Downs yesterday from Mill Creek High School in Hoxton, Georgia. And he is the consensus number 1 safety in the country. Some believe the number 1 player in America. And we're going to discuss that and some recruiting notes with our next guest, who is the founder and owner of TiderInsider.com since 1996. He's been the preeminent source when it comes to accurate information when it comes to Alabama football and Alabama football recruiting and Alabama athletics. And he's a great friend of the show, and he's now with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Busy morning for him. Rodney, thank you for the few minutes this morning. I know it's a busy one. You're with Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Hey, Drew and Scott, how are you guys?
We are good. Thank you for joining us this morning. And I know you've been kind of telling us a little bit about Caleb Downs. We've been tracking this young man really for a couple of years now, but especially in the last 2 to 3 months when the recruiting process for the 23 class really got rolling. And he chooses Alabama yesterday. Players Tribune commitment video. He chooses the Tide over Ohio State, but also Georgia, Notre Dame. A big piece of the puzzle for Alabama.
Yes, huge pickup. I mean, obviously, as you described it there, Drew, again, he's, an elite safety. Some people consider him, and I'm not talking about the rankings. You can turn to 247 or whichever network you like to follow. They're not going to have him the number 1 player, but there's a lot of people who do this for a living in terms of coaching and evaluating players, and they think he's the best player they've seen in this class so far. This guy's a really talented kid. I think a good comparison might be Minka Fitzpatrick. Not quite as big as Minka was coming in, but he has a lot of those qualities and tangibles as a player. I talked to somebody who's evaluated a lot of great players around the country and a lot of the top safeties, and he said, when you look at Caleb Downs, what you're trying to find is what area, does he maybe not excel in? And he said you really have a difficult time finding a flaw in this kid as a player. He's that good. And I think that's why you mentioned all those schools that you did. It's why Ohio State, it's why Georgia, it's why Notre Dame, it's why every other school in the country was so desperately in pursuit of him.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at it, Rodney, and a lot of people – a lot of Alabama fans were kind of like, oh, my goodness, we're so far down in these rankings. Now Alabama, with this recruit, gives them 3 5-stars, which, by the way, if you're looking at it, is the most in the country right now for the 2023 class.
But, here's the thing, Drew and Scott. Don't we go through this every year?
Yeah, we do.
I mean, it's every single year we hear the same thing. I mean, what's wrong with Alabama? Has Nick Saban lost it? We hear that every single year, and that's in May and June when, some of these schools are racking up the commitments, and then all of a sudden, come July and August, you see Alabama start to turn the corner, and that's what we're seeing again. Same thing. Nick Saban and his staff, they really take value with these camps in June where they have an opportunity to evaluate a lot of players in person, but not only on the field, Drew and Scott, but, they have a chance to get these guys on campus on visits and in the camps and be around them and find out, okay, are these the kind of guys that are going to fit into our program? Because everybody wants to go to the NFL, but is everybody willing to do what it takes to be developed to become the best they can be? And I think that's really what Nick Saban and his staff try to do is, does this kid have the right stuff for us to be able to bring him in and develop him into being a great player here, being a high achiever in every aspect, and then, being prepared to go on to the next level. I think a lot of those things that they do to evaluate those kids are done in June.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting, too, when you look into Caleb Downs' background. His brother Josh Downs, great receiver at North Carolina, 101 catches for Mack Brown last year. His father played at NC State. I believe he was a running back. And then his uncle, Dre Bly, who anyone that's followed college football for the last 25 years remembers how great a player he was at North Carolina and went on to the NFL. Now he's the cornerbacks coach for the Tar Heels under Mack Brown. So this is a football family. He's from Rodney, and I think it was a decision that he didn't take lightly. And as you saw, even though they have the ties to North Carolina, they weren't one of the final few schools. But again, I think it was a measured decision that he made. And when you look at Alabama's depth chart, they've got a lot of juniors and seniors on the at the safety spot, so he could come in and play early next year.
I think he has a great opportunity to get early playing time. And again, one thing you can't know is how quickly a kid is going to be able to, come in, soak things up, understand the system, give himself an opportunity to be on the field. He may have it all physically, but to understand where he's supposed to be, when he's supposed to be there, all of the things that go with understanding this defense. Sometimes you can't evaluate those things. But the one good thing is, Drew and Scott, as you guys know, with these early enrollees coming in the spring, they have an opportunity to make some of those adjustments and learn some things that they are going to need to know to give them an opportunity to get on the field. And, we made a comparison to Minkah Fitzpatrick, and I was just thinking as we're talking about this, Minkah was one of those guys that came in and made that instant impact. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was incredible from the very start of his freshman year, but he was not an early enrollee.
He was not.
So, and I think that's kind of the football IQ that Caleb Downs has. Mm. So, coming in and making those adjustments, I think he'll be a guy that making a strong contribution early.
Well, and speaking of Alabama's recruiting role, a big part of that has been Trevarius Robinson, the first-year cornerbacks coach who came in from Miami, ironically. He had worked for Manny Diaz last year and for a long time had been with Will Muschamp at South Carolina and at Auburn when Will was DC there. He's somebody that I know played at Auburn University, but he's considered one of the elite recruiters in the country. Charles Kelly, who would be Caleb Downs' position coach with the coaches, the safeties, he's been doing a lot of good work as well.
Well, I think those guys really, as you mentioned, they're two of the – Charles Kelly doesn't get the kind of the pub that I think he deserves. He's kind of in that Sal Sinceri mold. Sal was kind of that, as they call him, a silent killer in recruiting. And I think Charles Kelly's the kind of the same way. Joe Panunzio, who used to be on the Alabama staff, was very much the same way. Guys that don't get a lot of fanfare, but they're really outstanding recruiters. And I think that Charles Kelly did a great job in helping lead up this recruitment for Caleb Downs. But I do think, too, and we said this, Drew, you know this, for 4 or 5 weeks on TigerInsider.com, that Trevarius Robinson had done a tremendous job in terms of had built that long-time relationship over the last two-plus years with Caleb Downs. And I think his presence certainly was extremely helpful. I thought that put Alabama in a very strong position with Caleb Downs. So, yeah, those two guys, elite recruiters, there's no question about that. And I think both of them, played a significant role in helping Alabama with Downs.
Mm-hmm. Is there more good news for Alabama fans? Should they be paying attention to the recruiting news coming up here?
Well, I think Hunter Osborne out of Hewitt-Trussville, he may be the next one unless someone pops between now and Monday, which is certainly possible. I don't think of any off the top of my head. Drew may know if there's any other announcements set up between now and then. I don't think so. But again, some of these kids don't set announcements. They'll just pop it on Twitter. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think Hunter Osborne, the 4-star defensive lineman out of Hewitt-Trussville, is certainly one to watch Monday when he makes his announcement. I think Clemson had kind of had the inside track with him, and Texas was recruiting him extremely hard. I know that Bo Davis really likes him, and I know that Dabo Swinney really likes him a lot. And, of course, there's other schools, Tennessee, Auburn, certainly in the mix as well. But I do think right now Hunter Osborne will likely pick Alabama on Monday.
Yeah, and then you made it a point, and this was with the Peter Wood situation. He did choose Clemson from 50 miles down the road at Thompson High School from, a longtime Alabama fan, but he Dabo Swinney and that staff, and they did a great job of recruiting him and Nick Easton, the new defensive line coach. But you made a point of saying it's about how Alabama responds. Getting Hunter Osborne would certainly be a big piece to the D-line puzzle. And then there's another young man out of Texas that I know you've been doing a lot of recon on, Jordan Renaud, who from Tyler Legacy High School, who I think Alabama's in strong position for.
Yes, there's no question. Jordan Renaud, and again, I think sometimes people look at his size. He's probably just a shade under 6'4", and he's 250. So he's got a lot of weight to add, and he'll add that because he has the frame to do it. Mm-hmm. So I think certainly he's a guy. Keep an eye on Jordan Renaud. He's going to take a couple of visits to Oklahoma. He's going to one of their cookout type events that they have coming up, but he also is going to, I think he's going to take an official there because he had made that promise, and I think he's going to do a thorough job of evaluating Alabama and Oklahoma. But he's supposed to come to Tuscaloosa again for the Texas A&M game in October, and this will be like his 6th visit here. I think Alabama's in great shape with him. I think he's a playmaker on the defensive line. He's got a ton of potential. I think you're going to continue, even though he's rated a 4-star, I think you're going to continue to see him move up. I don't know that he'll get that 5-star ranking because, right now they kind of look at him and say he's 250 pounds, but he's got that kind of ability and potential.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Jonathan Allen. Jonathan Allen had to add a lot of weight and became a dominant player at Alabama coming out of the state of Virginia. But speaking of prominent prospects in the state of Alabama and defensive linemen, edge players, and Charles Kelly, update the listeners on the Carver-Montgomery duo of James Smith and Quay Russaw.
Yeah, and I had somebody that was actually with those two guys here in the last few days and talked to them extensively, and I don't think they're anywhere close to making a decision. I think those two guys, of course, James Smith's a 5-star defensive lineman. And, Peter Woods has everything you look for in terms of just the complete package. He's a great player. He's a great kid. He's going to do everything the right way. But when you just look at pure defensive line ability, talent, there's a lot of people in the country that think James Smith might be the best. Out of Montgomery Carver. Again, he's a big interior defensive lineman, over 300 pounds already. Guy's a dominant player. Alabama, Georgia, Auburn. Don't count out Auburn. I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of sleeping on Auburn, but I know that they're in there very, very strongly with him and Russaw. And, other schools too. I think Ohio State, Texas A&M, all these schools are certainly still pushing for him. I think even Florida is trying to lurk around. So there's Miami. I mean, you name it, every school in the country basically. But, I don't see a decision anytime soon for these guys. And Quay Rousseau kind of lives in his shadow, but he's a very talented player, as you know, Drew. Outside backer, could play inside. He's a real playmaker, vicious tackler, vicious hitter, brings a real mindset to your defense. But those guys are outstanding players. I do think Alabama, over the last week or so, I've heard some really positive things about their position. But it's gonna be a long battle with those two.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, the offensive line, they've got three big pieces. Since we last spoke with you, Olaus Alinen goes ahead and pulls the trigger for Alabama from Windsor, Connecticut via Finland. He's going to be a big part of that O-line class, along with Raquez McElderry, who they flipped from Georgia, of course from Anniston High School here in the state, and then Wilkin Formby as well from Northridge in their backyard. But talk about where the offensive line class is and a couple of pieces they may add.
Well, I think right now they're off to a really good start. Wilkin Formby here at Tuscaloosa Northridge, again, I think the biggest thing about him, Drew and Scott, is that when you look at him, he's a local kid. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when they're local kids, you know how this works, Drew. People don't really kind of, when they start to assess their value, they kind of take them for granted. But he is this guy's 6'7" and 3/4, 315 pounds. He just turned 17. I mean, he's going to be a 335-pound monster. Mm-hmm. Whether he's at right tackle, left tackle, most people think right tackle. Then the other guys you mentioned as well, Olaus Alinen was a big pickup. I think Rock McElderry was obviously a big pickup. But Raymond Pulido was here this week out of the state of California. Keep an eye on him. I've heard that Alabama really loves this kid. He's a guy at 6'6", 340, an interior player probably on this level. But I understand Alabama loves him. They're really pushing hard for him. I know that Louisville's been in there too. And other schools, certainly. Oregon is another one that's been in the mix, and various ones. And then Miles McVay. I think he picks Alabama on August the 11th when he announces 6'6", about 355, out of East St. Louis, Illinois. Miles is a really good kid. I've had an opportunity to talk to him a couple of times. Really smart, intelligent kid. He knows what he's looking for. I think he's a guy that will be a great fit here. I think he's a guy that when you get him in this strength and conditioning program and the nutritional program that they have, he has a chance to really blossom.
Mm-hmm, you really could, and we'll see, because Alabama, if they could find the right prospect, could take 6 offensive linemen. They could, but we'll see, how that develops. But those two guys, Raymond Pulido and Miles McVay, are the two I think to track right now that I think Alabama's in the best position for. But Rodney, we appreciate the time. We know it's a busy morning for you. Let everybody know how to connect with TiderInsider.com.
Well, it's TiderInsider.com. It's only $48 a year. You can get instant access with your credit card if you prefer. There is an address there. You can send a check, and there's all our premium information. We covered a lot of the things last night in a kind of an update and notes update on recruiting, kind of updating where things stand. And then also our All Sports Forum, which is the community of Alabama fans we have there. It's a great community, great group of members that we have that share information and listen. I mean, there's nothing that happens as it relates to Alabama college football, college athletics, that doesn't appear right there on TiderInsider.com in a very short time. So it's only $48 a year, TiderInsider.com.
Well, Rodney, thank you. We appreciate the info. Big get for Alabama with Caleb Downs. Class looking strong right now, and we look forward to speaking with you when fall camp gets cranked up next week for Alabama on Thursday. But thank you for talking some Tide recruiting this morning.
Hey, Drew, I appreciate it. You and Scott, take care.
That was Rodney Orr with us, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, 7:41 on a Thursday morning. I tell you what, let's get that break in when we come back. We're going to wrap up hour one. Talking Ball right here.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a large law enforcement presence around Greenbrier Parkway and Old Highway 20. Had someone run from a state trooper there, and they've got a search going on. And we just got a wreck on 565 at Greenbrier Parkway. That one's coming in as a no injury. Why not get healthy where it's cool? Become a Y member and enjoy over 200 group classes, swimming pools, awesome fitness equipment, and free child care. The YMCA, Huntsville, and Madison will keep the air on for you. Captain Neck in the Jordan Lane, Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Wendy's new Strawberry Frosty is here, so check your watch. Is it Frosty time yet? It probably is. The hour hand would be on, I'm feeling snacky. And the minute hand would be on, relaxing with a rich, creamy Strawberry Frosty on a summer day, just digging into that smooth, chilly deliciousness and vibing. You know, depending on what kind of watch you have. When it's time for Frosty time, choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Frosty and Classic Chocolate or New Strawberry.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Touchdown, Alabama! Nolan pass inside, but he got to go to the play.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, I'm Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia in Huntsville, Alabama. We are the proud transportation sponsors of Talking Ball at 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And we mentioned we were going to hear from a lot of coaches today.
Mm-hmm.
Eli Drinkwitz, the Missouri head coach.
Jim Rome.
Hopped on the Jim Rome show.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Rome has labeled Eli Drinkwitz now his best guest ever.
Ever?
Ever.
He's been doing it a long time.
Ever.
Take
a listen to what Eli Drinkwitz had to say about Tennessee.
I was going to say this too, Jim. I thought you were going to introduce my record, but with the latest allegations against Tennessee, let's hold up on what my record is because I expected to vacate some wins, and that's going to help my record a little bit. Okay?
Oh, man, this is getting better. This is getting so much better. Can I ask you, I wasn't necessarily going to go there, but you would be the beneficiary of that. Since you brought it up, can I get your reaction to the latest allegations against Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I got to question my wife's commitment to winning. I mean, I don't know how much she's committed if she's not engaging in some of these things. I didn't know that was fair play. So, we got to, it was a little bit surprising to see the in-depth nature of what was going on there. But I am sure glad that Tennessee was taking some ownership of it, and we'll see what the results are. But it's pretty interesting for sure.
My man, if I were you, I'd walk off right now, and then you can go down as the best guest ever. Eli, one more thought about that. It's one thing to say that I didn't know that my wife could get involved and help me cheat. Well, that's not what you said, but I'll say that. Even better that she did she not used to have some sort of compliance responsibility where she had been previously as well? One thing to have the wife involved, but what if she was involved also in compliance and making sure that they follow the rules, allegedly? How much better does that make it?
I mean, it's pressure does crazy things to people, and there's a lot of pressure to win in the SEC. So I don't know, that's crazy.
Eli Drinkwitz on the Jim Rome Show.
Yeah, because I think Jeremy's wife used to work in compliance for Dirt Neck at Florida State, so you connect those dots. But anyway, and Jeremy spent a season at helping Dirt Neck win his one national championship that he remember in the earlier in the hour he brought that up that that ATM is one of 5 schools to have a national championship coach on their staff, talking about himself, of course. I'm surprised he didn't start talking about himself in third person and just start referring to himself as Jimbo. But it is what it is. I mean, certainly Jeremy's going to have to, navigate this. It's going to be very difficult on his career. I find it interesting that they had all this detail, with the NCAA as far as what allegedly happened at Tennessee. I know they got all these interviews. It does seem like to me that Jeremy got thrown to the wolves a little bit here. And I'll say it again. I don't know how Fatlock, a.k.a. Philip Fulmer, is not named in this investigation. It shocks me. I know he's not going to comment on it because of a confidentiality agreement. And I know I think he's making $37,000 a month, but he's one of them at Tennessee. He's an alum. He's a prominent former player. Won a national championship as a head coach. Was there a long time. So I don't know, but to me, he had to be aware of what was going on and assisting in this. Just like but he seems to be a Teflon guy. I mean, they had the academic investigation with Linda Benzel Myers back in the 90s. Nothing ever stuck to Philip. So it doesn't seem like anything ever sticks to Phil Fulmer. So we'll see.
You've got now other SEC coaches kind of making fun of the situation.
Oh, I mean, there's when you make all that kind of stuff public, that's what's going to happen. And if I'm Jeremy and his attorney, I'm fighting it. I'm trying to get some sort of settlement, and I'm trying to save my career because you don't know what kind of show cause he's going to get. Bruce Pearl got one for a few years and ended up having to sit out. And then timing is everything. The Auburn job was open. He was able to land at Auburn, and he's revived his career with the Tigers. We'll see what happens with Jeremy. I still think he's an elite defensive coordinator. I'll be honest with you. I never thought he was a really kind of a dude to me that being around him and knowing people that have been around him a lot and know him well, I think he's always been a great recruiter. I think he's always been a great defensive mind. There's just some dudes to me that aren't head coaches.
Right.
And I just sort of felt like that was Jeremy, that he was going to be an elite DC. And you see what coordinators make in college football now. You can make over $1 million a year.
Easily.
You can make big money. I just never felt like he was a head coach. And to me, it's kind of like Will Muschamp. You saw Will in 2 opportunities, and when you can't make a run at it at Florida and you stink, I mean, to me, now it wasn't all his fault because he was trying to clean up for Urban Meyer, and then Jeremy Foley kind of let some things slide from a facility standpoint. But he's still, and you look at what he did at South Carolina, he's just not head coach material, and I think Jeremy's the same way.
I know he won a national championship.
Yeah.
But Ed Orgeron is in that same boat. Ed Orgeron is a heck of a line coach.
Defensive line, yeah.
Great defensive line coach.
Yeah, proven. Absolutely. Yeah.
Not a great – yes, he won a national championship at LSU, caught lightning in a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Everything lined up perfectly.
Yeah.
He wasn't great at USC, wasn't great at Ole Miss. Overall, not great the way everything went down at LSU. But that guy can coach along the line. B. Rich with us this morning. Good morning, B. Rich.
What's up, B. Rich?
Good morning, fellas. Drew, I'll tell you how Fatlock was not named in any of that report that came out of Tennessee. Would it surprise you if that guy turned against Pruitt and threw Pruitt under the bus? I mean,
not at all.
That guy's invented cheating. I mean, he's one of the greatest, cheaters of all time, and he's just a lying sack of crap. So that's why nothing ever sticks to him. Would it surprise anybody if he still has a few of the guys up at the NCAA name in his Rolodex? I mean, this guy called the NCAA on every team more than anybody. I mean, he's one of the biggest snitches of all time. So that's why that fat piece of crap continues to come out smelling like roses and stealing money from the University of Tennessee, $37,000 a month.
Yeah.
Give me a break. What? I mean, didn't he put away some of that money he had from all his days? I don't understand why these schools, I respect, Coach Dye and all that, but I don't understand why some of these schools continue to keep these guys around. I mean, what do they bring? I mean, send them off. Don't spend any more money on them. I wouldn't want Fulmer anywhere near my program. He's always been a lying fat piece of crap, and he always will be. So there's my rant, and my moron of the day goes to Philip Fulmer.
Yeah, we know how much you love the University of Tennessee, but I will say this. I'll give Steve Moulton credit. I did tweet at Steve the other day when he showed the picture from the press conference when Jeremy was introduced, and of course it was Fatlock and Jeremy Pruitt together.
Is that his name, Fatlock?
Yeah. And so they were together at the press conference, and I said, well, Steve, the only thing missing is the knife. And then Steve Moulton, as resourceful as he is, produced a meme with a knife behind Jeremy Pruitt's back. And so much like he stabbed Johnny Majors in the back to get the head coaching job, he did the same thing to throw Jeremy Pruitt under the bus. And did Jeremy make mistakes? Absolutely. He wasn't ready for this head coaching job, in my opinion. And now he's going to have to pay the piper a little bit. But I still think he deserves to be back in coaching, just not as a head coach. But certainly I think he can be an elite defensive coordinator. But, again, I agree with B. Rich wholeheartedly. I don't see how Teflon Phil continues to, escape these investigations unscathed. Now, he was fired at Tennessee because Nick Saban came to town and started wiping the floor with the Vols, which is 15 years in a row. But, again, he resurfaces somehow as athletic director, and who knows, the running joke is he was going to be put in charge of Tennessee's collective, which that would be, yeah.
That'd be humorous. Well, on the bright side, lung cancer cases should be down in Tennessee because ain't nobody been smoking cigars up there in a long, long time. So, y'all have a good day, gentlemen.
Thank you, dude.
256-576-4977. That's the number of the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the first hour of the show. We got just a little bit of time left. In hour number one.
Yeah, we need to. Now that I've nicknamed him that from this point in time forward, since it's Fatlock, we need to have the Matlock theme tuned up so we can bring that. So we can.
Matlock was a good person. Though.
He was
Matlock wasn't a cheater.
Well, I know, but still, when you call him Fatlock, it's I mean, and that's PHAT, by the way.
PHAT?
Yeah, Fatlock.
You know what PHAT is really?
I know, but I mean, it's still off Fulmer, the PA, Philip Fulmer.
We can't call it PHAT. He's not pretty hot and tempting.
No. But I mean, it's PH because of Phil,
Oh, my goodness. Coming up in hour number 2. Just so we know, I kind of wrote some of these down, though, just so that people know.
Yeah.
So Fatlock is now Philip Fulmer.
Yeah.
Dirtneck is Jimbo Fisher.
Correct.
The land of fruit and nuts is the state of California, unless you want to change it to something else.
No, I used the term
Union
yesterday. I won't use it anymore. I'll be more respectful.
Land of the fruit and nuts? No
more?
No.
Another one. But
okay. What are we going to call California then?
No, we're going to call that. That's fine.
Land of the fruit and nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I referred to something else yesterday and insulted some people, and I'll just stop.
I think I heard that. Western Union is Will Wade.
Yeah.
Venmo is Georgia.
Yeah.
Do we have, what other ones are we, I just want to make sure that people know.
Kirby Freeze, Smart.
Okay.
That's an old school one.
Okay, so we got that one. All right.
And then Hugh Freeze.
Okay, there we go. I just want people to know that when we throw these out, exactly who we are talking, and Fatlock is PHAT is how we're spelling that. Okay. Just want to make sure. There's hour 1 in the books. When we come back, we're going to hear from Lane Kiffin, and we got to hear from Matt Corral. We got a lot of stuff. A lot of people are just putting foots in their mouths these days. Lane Kiffin will tell us what he thinks about salary cap in college football next.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Alabama A&M University football. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com and view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see ya in the Kia. Go Bulldogs!
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now, because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a large law enforcement presence around Greenbrier Parkway and Old Highway 20. Had someone run from a state trooper there, and they've got a search going on. And we just got a wreck on 565 at Greenbrier Parkway. That one's coming in as a no injury. Why not get healthy where it's cool? Become a Y member and enjoy over 200 group classes, swimming pools, awesome fitness equipment, and free child care. The YMCA, Huntsville, and Madison will keep the air on for you. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky through the heart of the afternoon, early into the evening. Temperatures once again climbing into the low and mid-90s. Opportunities for rain are gradually going to be on the increase. I think they're really going to begin to increase as we head into the evening, the overnight, and then especially through Friday. Friday brings a fairly healthy opportunity for widespread shower and thunderstorm activity to North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. With that in mind, temperatures going to be a little lower, only climbing into the upper 80s and lower 90s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Rocket Mortgage Classic underway today. Patrick Cantley the favorite at plus 1,000. Tony Finau and Will Zalatoris each at plus 1,400. Cameron Young at plus 1,600. Mid-season odds for the American League and National League MVPs. Aaron Judge the favorite in the American League at plus 125. Shohei Ohtani at plus 115. In the National League, Pete Goldschmidt the favorite at minus 140. Freddie Freeman at plus 775. UFC 277 in Dallas this weekend. Amanda Nunes a minus 275 favorite against Juliana Pena at plus 230 for the Women's Bantamweight Championship. Red Hot winning picks at experts.winnersandwhiners.com. Save 75% on any best bet package with the promo code ACTION75. That's ACTION75 at experts.winnersandwhiners.com.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome back, Hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and recapping Hour 1 in case you are just joining us. We have heard from Jimbo Fisher as he has sold us on Texas A&M. We've talked some Alabama recruiting, and we heard from Eli Drinkwitz on basically saying that his
throwing
wife,
shade at Tennessee.
Yeah, throwing shade at Tennessee. Now, you have, and if you missed it, we were talking about names of our
work ethic.
Tennessee, you have nicknamed.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm just trying to get. We have nicknamed Philip Fulmer Fatlock.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, our esteemed producer Smokey Mike has given us the urban term for fatlock in the Urban Dictionary on what fatlock means. Fatlock, according to the Urban Dictionary, is a sleuth food detective.
Okay. He's had a lot of food.
So check that one in the box. A master of discovering what is hidden.
And he's done that because he's cheated.
One who has discovered the health benefits of eating McDonald's cheeseburgers, KFC chicken, and Hungry Man dinners 4 times a day.
Well, he probably's done that way. And wasn't there rumors about there having like cash stuffed in a McDonald's bag or something?
Yep. When someone figures out how something works, he or she is a real fatlock.
There you go. Hey, good job, Smokey. As much as that pained him, I know we know Smokey Mike is a Tennessee fan, but still. I mean, that's some good recon and research right there. Sounds like it's Philip Fulmer in the dictionary. I don't know about the Hungry Man dinners. They still make those?
I don't know. Do they?
Yeah, I haven't had a.
Smokey's shaking his head. Yes.
So I haven't had a TV dinner in many, many years.
I don't know. What do they still?
And you're the Publix expert, so I didn't know if you'd seen them in Publix.
Do they still put the little brownie in them?
Do they? They used to, yeah, but if you cooked it too long, they got really super hard, you know?
I hate it when things get really hard.
Uh-oh, that's a Tom Abraham.
Anyway, so we move on today. Matt Corral. So speaking of throwing shade.
Yeah, this was a weird comment.
Yeah, here is Matt Corral at a Carolina Panthers press conference. Now let's just set it up though in pre-context. The Carolina Panthers drafted Matt Corral to be their quarterback of the future. Then they go out and trade for Baker Mayfield. So now they have Baker Mayfield and Matt Corral, and they're going through a quarterback competition. Matt Corral was pressed for about 6 minutes on being in a quarterback competition against Baker Mayfield. This question and answer came about 5 minutes into being pressed constantly about being in a quarterback battle.
So
With that being said, who doesn't, like, the best of the best, they want competition. And I think for this room, it's going to be a great competition because, we're all competitors in that room, and we're all going to make, we all understand, what the job is to get done, and we're going to do it.
Thanks, Matt. What card did you guys down?
Matt, some rookie quarterbacks that come in don't have the luxury of having veterans presence around them. You have two guys that have starting experience. So what does that mean in trying to prove yourself on a day-to-day basis? What's that like in the preparation?
I'm going to take this back to where I decided to go to college. I took the easy way because I felt like I could play right away, right? And knowing what I know now and trusting my instinct and trusting my work ethic, I would have went to a place that would have made me compete. So with that being said, who doesn't, like, the best of the best, they want competition. And I think for this room,
he would have gone to a place.
So how do you how did it not come out right, or did his comments get misconstrued? Because how do you misconstrue those comments about what he just said?
He said that's.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to crawfish and backtrack, but I don't know how you do that because that's exactly what came out of his mouth. It's not like it got twisted around or something like that. He said it.
Basically saying that he
should not have gone to Ole Miss.
Should not have gone to Ole Miss at all.
Right. That I should have gone to a better program that would push me. Why did you say that? I think you're saying why he was a third-round pick, okay? That's all I'm going to say. If you delve into his background a little bit coming out of high school. Had a supreme arm talent and was really a better athlete than I thought. I didn't realize he was going to be the runner that he ended up being. But, I mean, come on, bro. You and USC parted ways. You and Florida parted ways. Alabama stopped recruiting you. There might be just a little bit of a screw loose there, just a little bit.
Well, his former head coach, Lane Kiffin, hopped on First Take and was asked about said comments from Matt Corral.
First off, I wasn't here when Matt got here, so as far as the competition initially, which he was in, I wasn't here. Matt immediately texted me after that to say that's not what he meant by it, and that he actually was in a competition here, and so he's a rookie in the NFL. He's not going to say everything right, and he's not going to throw everything right, especially in his first year. So I'm sure he'd take that back, but we're in the time where there's not much going on in the media, and so like I told him, this will run for 48 hours. Nobody will even remember it.
I don't know about that. I mean, I guess that's what Lane hopes, but I don't know if it's great that your starting quarterback basically did a great job for you, led you to the Sugar Bowl, got injured, unfortunately, had to leave that game, and it was a big reason why Baylor beat the Ole Miss Rebels, but you just helped develop this kid into an NFL draft pick, and then he basically says, I shouldn't have gone there. So I guess, is that another reason why we could point to Arch not going to the Rebels?
No competition?
Well, no, I'm just saying. I mean, it's
Lane
not
Kiffin.
– I mean, you got an 18-mile-an-hour road, you got a 10-mile-an-hour road, and then all of a sudden he doesn't want to go to Ole Miss. I mean, I'm just saying the common denominator is the Lane train. I mean, I don't know.
Matt Corral, though, performed well under Lane.
Oh, he did.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Why are you saying that after you leave Ole Miss and you put up the numbers you did? And I'll be honest, I know he was a four-star recruit coming to Oxford, but going into last year, even though I know he had started the 2020 season in the COVID year for Ole Miss, I don't think a lot of people had him as a can't-miss pro prospect. And he had the kind of year nobody had. I certainly didn't have Ole Miss finishing second in the West, but it was great. I mean, they beat Dirt Neck, and it really the only reason they didn't have a chance to win the Western Division is they couldn't handle the state of Alabama. They lost to Alabama and Auburn. That was the big reason why they finished second in the West. But still, for them, that was a major accomplishment and a second Sugar Bowl trip because they also won the Sugar Bowl, I believe, against Oklahoma State under Hugh Freeze or at least a Big Six bowl. It may have been the Peach Bowl. I digress. I know they won a big-time bowl game under Hugh because they nearly won the SEC West in 2015. But it's just one of those things where, Ole Miss has not – they and Texas A&M are the only two schools that have not represented the Western Division in Atlanta. And Ole Miss, of course, has been an SEC member for eons, since the beginning of the conference. Now, Texas A&M has only been in the league 10 years. But, again, it is what it is.
All right, Lane Kiffin was also – this is the clip that I was going to play anyway. He talked about name, image, and likeness, but he also – and you have brought up this point, and this was why when I looked at where to slot Ole Miss in the media poll, where do we put Ole Miss? Because they're bringing in 17 new transfers. Or new kids, not new transfers. They're bringing in 17 transfers and trying to mesh it all together. So how do you break in a new quarterback in the process? So where do you pick Ole Miss in the SEC West? Where do you put them? I put them lower because I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if Lane Kiffin can bring them all together. Lane Kiffin was asked about that.
It's not easy. Anytime you bring in that many players that replace really good players, but really good team leaders and locker room guys, that's a lot for us to do. And I think that's a lot on coaching, because you didn't have these guys in your system for a couple of years, and they've come from different places where they've already kind of been raised differently. So this is very challenging. It may on paper look good that we signed all these guys that are supposed to be good players or have been at other places, but as you guys see in all sports, look no different than the NBA. You can put together good players on paper, and it doesn't work. So, especially in football.
Are we going to find out how good of a coach Lane Kiffin really is this year? Is this going to prove or not prove that? I mean, we know Lane Kiffin can call offensive plays. We know he's a great coordinator. We know what he can do. But is this going to ultimately decide how good of a coach Lane Kiffin is?
Potentially. I mean, I think their team is polarizing because you don't know how good they're going to be. If they can get all these portal guys to come together, they could be, once again, an upper division team in the SEC West. But if not, if there's chemistry issues, if Lane can't feed the beast, so to speak, and handle expectations, and that's kind of how I've got it. Now, I still have them going to a bowl. Again, I've got everybody in the West going to a bowl. I picked Ole Miss 6th in the Western Division because, again, I think it's the toughest division in all college football. I think Auburn is going to be better than people think. I think they're going to go to a bowl game, have a solid year. And certainly, I don't think they're going to contend for the Western Division championship, but I think they're going to be much better than last year. And Texas A&M, too much talent. That's why I had them still 4th because in the middle, and again, that would still be like an 8-4 regular season. I mean, they just got too many good players. I just like, even though the schedule's brutal, I like Arkansas. I like their culture. I like what Sam Pittman's doing. They got KJ Jefferson, a senior quarterback. And then I'm just betting on Brian Kelly and that coaching staff at LSU being able to get this program going quickly. They also were aggressive in the portal, but I think LSU, it's never really been about talent. They've always had talent. It's been about direction and coaching.
Right.
And I just think that Brian Kelly and what he did at Notre Dame and what he did at Cincinnati before that, Central Michigan, and then on the Division II level, I think he can get LSU on the right track quickly.
Let me ask you this. Lane Kiffin is taking a big chance here, bringing in 17 guys through the transfer portal. Do you think the rest of the college football world, and there's other coaches that have dabbled in the portal, Alabama, Auburn, a lot of places dabble in the portal because it's a quick fix, and you can get talented guys. If Lane Kiffin doesn't have success with 17 guys this year, do you think other coaches sit there and look at it and say, okay, it didn't work for Ole Miss. I'm going to not take as many. I'm going to only take 5 or 6. I'm going to be very, very selective. Nick Saban, very, very selective in the transfer portal. Doesn't just go out and get anybody and everybody. gets the right pieces for the fix. Lane Kiffin went out and got anybody and everybody. Do you think coaches sit there and look at who's doing what and how they're doing it and saying, I'm not going to do that anymore? Could this change how coaches look at the transfer portal if it doesn't work?
Well, I mean, I doubt it because you look at Nick Saban, he's added 5 pieces and they could all be prominent. I just think it
but he's
just
selective though. He doesn't.
Yeah, I think, it's just going to depend on your approach. At Ole Miss, they don't recruit at the same level as Alabama out of the high school ranks. And so this allows Ole Miss to get good players with experience on their roster and have a chance to maybe be a little bit more talented and to be, and to fill holes quicker is the best way for me to put it. Because Ole Miss has good facilities. I wouldn't say elite, and they have a passionate following. But again, it goes back to the point of they've never been to the SEC championship game. And so there's different ways to skin a cat. And I think when Lane Kiffin's looking at, okay, how do I get good at Ole Miss? How do I stay good? How do I stay relevant? How do I keep this program in the top half of the SEC West until I line up a better job and leave? Because that's pretty much what he wants to do. He would have gone to Florida. He would have gone to Miami, but they didn't want to touch him because, again, if you look at Lane's off the field, conduct at times, it's he's a different guy. He's just
right.
There's baggage there, and so that's the reason he's at Ole Miss. But at the same time, he could have gone to Arkansas and decided that the Ole Miss program was a better opportunity for him. And I think Arkansas benefited because I think that Sam Pittman is a better fit at Arkansas than Lane Kiffin. So it may be that Lane Kiffin is a good fit for Ole Miss. He's already being paid very well. They're certainly paying him over $7 million a year. But I still think ultimately Lane has his eyes on a bigger fish. But he wants to win big at Ole Miss, and he's certainly off to a great start. I mean, he's got them very competitive quickly as they've moved on from the Hugh Freeze era where they had to get through the investigation. But now. They're coming off of a second-place finish, a Sugar Bowl bid. And now that I do think about it, I think that Peach Bowl, I think that was a Peach Bowl win over Oklahoma State. I think that Sugar Bowl appearance against Baylor last year was the first one since the Coach Vaught era of the 1960s of the days of Archie Manning. So the Ole Miss has not been to the Sugar Bowl in a long time. They've made a trip there now. And now he's trying to keep that program in the upper half of the SEC West. And the best way to do that for Ole Miss and with what they have to offer is probably the transfer portal.
To put it in perspective, if you want to, Ole Miss has had a 10-win season before Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher has had one.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm just putting that out there that Ole Miss has had.
I like that stat.
Season before. I mean, because they
remember it was a 10-game regular season when Dirt Neck lost by 28 to Alabama. Dirt Neck lost by 28 to Alabama. Dirt Neck lost by 28 to Alabama. They're still claiming they should have been in the playoff and would have given Alabama a better game. They would have gotten the hell beat out of them again. Everybody knows it.
Oh, just so you know, Ole Miss in 2003 they did tie.
Yeah, they came. That's the closest. That was Nick Saban's year that he won the national championship at LSU.
Yes,
and they tied for the West, but LSU won the tiebreaker because they won the head-to-head again. That was Eli Manning's, I believe, senior year at Ole Miss in 03 when the Rebels under David Cutcliffe nearly won the SEC West.
By the way, Lane Kiffin arrived in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
He's 15-7 at Ole Miss right now.
Yep.
So
off to a solid start.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number of the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Just a minute or so before we get to that break. So if you want to comment anything, go ahead and do so. Coming up here in just a little bit, we're going to talk some Auburn football. As the first hour, we mentioned a little Alabama football recruiting, mentioned Auburn had a good day yesterday as well. So we'll fill you in on everything there.
And then it's a big weekend for Auburn because it's a little bit later in the process. They usually do it earlier in the spring/summer But Big Cat Weekend is coming up this weekend, and Auburn is going to have a ton of prospects on campus in the 2023, 24, and even 25 classes. As you know, Coach Brian Harsin, they're trying to, of course, build the 2023 class, Scott.
Yeah.
But they're also trying to build momentum for the 24 and 25 groups.
You mentioned Ole Miss, though, in the Sugar Bowl. 21 and 15 were the last two Sugar Bowl appearances for Ole Miss.
So it was 15. It was the Sugar Bowl. I was trying to remember if that was the Sugar Bowl or the.
No, you're right though. They did go to the Peach Bowl in 14.
Yeah.
Where they faced TCU.
Yeah.
In 15, Hugh. What is it? Hugh Freeze took Ole Miss to the Sugar Bowl against Oklahoma State.
So that was the Sugar Bowl.
Yep, and beat them 48-20.
So they won the Sugar Bowl and they went to the Peach Bowl as well. See,
yeah,
I was trying to remember because I thought I had read where that was their first Sugar Bowl appearance since the 60s.
You're right there. The 2015 was their first Sugar Bowl appearance since 1969.
Okay.
Under Johnny Vaught when they faced Arkansas in the Sugar Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they did go to the they did go to the Peach Bowl, but they also had a Sugar Bowl a win in there. I was trying to remember which bowl it was that they played Oklahoma State. I do remember that they won that game and won it very impressively. But I was trying to remember at that point in time. Of course, at that time in Ole Miss football history, their salary cap was probably the biggest in college football.
In 15?
Well, 14 and 15.
Yeah. 2012 was Hugh Freeze's first year.
Yeah.
And then 13, 14, 15, and then
it's not quite what ATM's is right now, where you have a wide receiver waltz into the room who's making $800,000, who's already the best player on the team, and he better be, considering you paid that kind of money. Well, I'll just use a Jim Rome term, allegedly, but there's no alleged about it. I think we all know that.
I know we got just a short time before we take that break, but we are going to visit. We got Bama Bino real fast with us. Good morning, Bama.
Good morning, Bama Bino. How are you?
I was watching the death penalty case last night with SMU, and I remember a lot of that. I was a senior in high school when they got the death penalty in '87, I guess it was. But I heard a comment that I had kind of thought about, but before they had the NIL. Some of these players are going to need to put some money back, not be let down, because they're going to have to take a pay cut when they go to the NFL.
I mean, Eric Dickerson had to temporarily. I mean, but this is a shocker, I know, but Texas A&M gave him a gold Trans Am or Camaro or something that he kept.
Yesterday, C.J. Stroud at Big Ten Media Days was asked about his name, image, and likeness deals that he had.
Yeah.
And his response was, shoot, my mom don't have to pay her bills anymore.
Oh, there you go.
So that's in college.
Yeah.
But their situation, yeah, you're right. But they had to keep paying those monthly payments to the players that they couldn't just stop it, or else somebody would turn them in, and that's what ended up happening. One of the players got hurt, and they wasn't going to let him come back, and the payment stopped, and they said, "Well, screw this." And so they went to the media, and I think Skip Bayless was with the Dallas Morning News at the time, and one of the television broadcasts produced a letter with it's kind of like the Hugh Freeze deal, where you're making all this money, but you can't afford your own cell phone, and they traced the number back to a company cell phone, and that was from the university cell phone. That was from the Houston Nut lawsuit for defamation. But this guy, they sent the Texas A&M letterhead with money orders and cash in it, and that was just a little bit not very bright, I guess you'd say. But I just kind of thought it was funny that you. It might have been Eric Dickerson or somebody talking about him that said, these guys may take a pay cut when they go to the NFL.
Well, and I'll give Eric Dickerson credit. He stayed loyal to his alma mater. I mean,
Yeah, he did. And he kind of helped get June Jones back going. And when June came to him in California and said, "What can I do to get the fan base back together?" They had been shunning people like Craig James and Eric Dickerson and some of the ones that was on the team. And, you know, there again, these guys were kids at the time. You can't blame all of them. I don't know that Craig James got anything. He said that Bear Brown recruited him to Alabama. He never promised him anything, I don't think, or nobody said he did. But his wife wouldn't go, or his girlfriend at the time wouldn't go, so he said, I'm staying here. But, I don't think Craig, I never heard he got anything. I think his family was stable enough to where they didn't really have to worry about money. They might not have been rich, but I just thought that was a good quote, because you never would think that a player would take a pay cut when they go officially pro, but nowadays you got to wonder.
Yeah, sometimes you do.
All right, Ben,
Appreciate
I hate to
it.
do this,
Man,
but
thank
we
you,
are
man.
up against a break.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's get that break in. When we come back and talk some Auburn football recruiting, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
DQ presents Picture This. Picture yourself at DQ on Thursday, July 28th for Miracle Treat Day. You roll up to order a Blizzard with your friends and family like you have so many times before. But on this day, every flavor comes with a much-needed dose of hope. For every Blizzard you buy at participating locations, $1 or more will be donated to Children's Miracle Network hospitals for your local children's hospital, making Miracle Treat Day the most satisfying way to give hope to kids in your community. Thursday, July 28th at DQ.
I want to make the most of summer without breaking the bank. So I shopped Kohl's Friends and Family sale. With my 25% off coupon, I headed to the store and got shorts for $14.99, plus an extra 50% off a swimsuit, 40% off patio furniture, and $20 off as a Kohl's Rewards member. More style and more savings for the win. Select styles, $20 off of $100 valid in-store only. 25% offer ends July 31st in-store only. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Listen to the Tom Abraham Show.
And he loves fishing.
I hadn't called in during your show lately, but just wanted to say hi. It's just amazing. It's great people y'all have and the great personalities and all the talent. And we're lucky in this area to have you guys.
Listen to the Big Dog, weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, people call the award-winning burgers totally insane, which is a compliment because Bad Daddy's Burgers are just that, chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness built with premium Angus beef. They're bold and they're bad. Pair one with one of their signature cocktails or assortment of local craft brews. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, 2317 Memorial Parkway. Check out our menu and even order online at BadDaddy'sBurgerBar.com.
Still got a search going on around Old Highway 20 and Greenbrier Parkway. Had somebody run away from a state trooper on a traffic stop there. Got a lot of law enforcement presence in the area. Accident-wise, we had 1565 in Greenbrier Parkway that should be just about ready to clear. May actually be gone already. Cajun rice is back at Popeyes, and their 11-piece chicken family meal, 2 sides, 5 biscuits, now only $22.99. Popeyes, University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Indeed, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We are back and we are in the home stretch. Final 30 minutes, actually 29 minutes of the show left. This morning, we have talked a lot about a lot of things in the hour and a half that we have been on. And now we're going to flip it and talk some Auburn football recruiting.
Yes, we are. It's been a while since we've had our next guest on the hotline with us, but he was in my early days of Talking Ball. He was a guest with us, and he was a long-time stalwart with AuburnSports.com. But now they are building maybe the biggest Auburn website in the United States, and it's Auburn Live on 3. We've had his colleague Justin Hokanson on with us a few times. Certainly, they just acquired Keith Niebuhr. Keith Niebuhr coming along and to be a recruiting reporter for them. He's one of the best in the business. But our next guest has been covering Auburn for a long time. It is as connected when it comes to Auburn recruiting as there is. We wanted to bring him back into the Talking Ball family and talk some Auburn because it's a huge weekend coming up. Big Cat weekend a little later in the cycle in the summer this year, and they got a lot of big-time names coming on campus, and they added their fifth commitment to their recruiting class yesterday, and we're going to talk about that with Jeffrey Lee, and he's been good enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jeffrey, you're with Drew and Scott in Huntsville on 97.7 The Zone's Talking Ball. Welcome back. How are you?
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me, man. I'm doing well, getting prepared for the big weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a major one. It always is. Since Big Cat came into existence, it's really the preeminent event for Auburn. During the summer cycle when they put together their classes each year. But for our listeners, talk about the reasoning for Coach Harsin and his staff going into year two, kind of pushing this event back this year.
Well, that's a good question. I wasn't actually expecting it. I'd actually planned to go to Alaska this week. So when they told me the date, I was a little surprised. It's the latest that I've seen it, I guess, since in inception in 2009 with Gene Chizik and those guys, Trooper Taylor, Curtis Looper. They all started this back in it was 2009. Made it a weekend. It was truly a Big Cat weekend back then. Kids would come in, pay for their own hotel and stuff, and stay for the entire weekend, and then it's kind of evolved from there to a Big Cat event, pretty much an all day. Get these kids on campus for unofficial visits and truly develop personal relationships, strengthen bonds. But as far as the timing goes, it's a good question, man. With the way the recruiting is going now, it changes every year. It seems like everything's moving up. This year you saw official visits in May and June. You saw all the commitments popping in July. So this was a kind of a way to get kids back on campus after official visits, but I don't think Auburn was expecting all these kids to make decisions in July and not be able to or not want to come back.
Mm-hmm. So obviously it is a big weekend, and the one thing, I mean, people are paying attention to everything Brian Harsin does, whether he drives on the wrong, I mean, just they're just really wanting to find something with Brian Harsin. How important is this weekend coming up for him, getting these kids on there and trying to get a commit or two to come out of Big Cat weekend?
It's absolutely important. It is absolutely important because of July, the month of July. It's been a roller coaster. I wrote about it yesterday, but man, it's you started out great with Jeremiah Cobb committing on July the 1st. Then you had Carmelo English, the 4-star wide receiver, commit on July the 4th, and you're starting to feel some momentum gained. And then it was just miss after miss after miss throughout the month of July until yesterday, which is why Wilkie Renaud was such a big commitment for Auburn. But Harsin needs to get some of these guys, some of these fans, flipping the script on these people. He's been behind the 8 ball after the failed coup, I should say, in February. And I don't think I didn't realize how much it had affected recruiting. I don't think the coaches realized how much it affected recruiting until I started talking to some of the parents of kids who committed elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these kids were coming to Auburn in May and June and saying everything you would want them to say when they leave official visits, and then 2 weeks later they're committing elsewhere and saying Auburn finished third. So I'm contacting some parents. I'm curious, right? I want to know what it is. and it was the instability of the staff. They weren't sure if these guys were going to be there next year.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got to preach patience to the fans. Not, hey man, I really feel like if Auburn comes out and has a good year this year, they're gonna have the recruiting is going to take care of itself. It's just being a little patient because of that the perception of instability from some of these recruits.
Well, and we're talking to Jeffrey Lee, Auburn Live on 3, the senior recruiting editor covering Tigers football recruiting under Brian Harsin. And I've preached this at SEC Media Days last week. I know they were picked last in the media poll. I didn't pick them there. I don't see Auburn finishing last in the SEC West. Every time Auburn's being underestimated, like the biggest example for me was Gus Malzahn's first year. They nearly won the national title. I don't see that with this group, but I certainly when I watched his first team play, I liked their style football. I thought they were solid. I know they had the 5-game losing streak to end the year, but they nearly beat Alabama, could have easily won that game. The Penn State game early didn't go their way. They did play well and win at Arkansas, but they blew. I think the one that kind of turned it was that when they lost the big lead to Mississippi State. But I still felt like when I was watching their football team, like when I saw Chad Morris's Arkansas teams play, they were terrible football teams. I didn't get that gift from Auburn. So to me, I think, and this is why I was asking you about Big Cat being pushed back. I wondered if Coach Harsin and his staff didn't push it back a little bit because of trying to repair relationships in the recruiting process, because of what unfortunately almost happened to him at the end of the last season.
Very well could be. I think, and you just said a lot of good things. We've talked about this on some of our shows, but this guy has already, to me at least, he's proven that he's a really good football coach. Last year, you're looking at 6-6 with the 5, or 6-7 with the 5 straight losses, but at no point during the season, except for the Georgia game, was Auburn ever out of a game, and they were in every game, every loss except for that Georgia game. I mean, Georgia beat them up and down the field, but no other team did that. And so I think this guy's proven he can coach football. I don't see an implosion, the likes of a Gene Chizik or anything like that. I don't see that happening. These guys are a real disciplined football team. They're all about. He's an elite coach and an average to above average recruiter, and that's how I see him after year one.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he can, and he's upgraded his staff as far as recruiting goes. He's made a lot of additional hires, support personnel. He understands the importance of recruiting. You can be as good as, Tuberville used to say, you can do all the X's and O's you want, but give me the Jimmy and Joe's or you're not going to win. So I think he realizes the importance of that, and the biggest difference coming to the SEC from Boise was the recruiting and how big and how demanding it is on their lives. And I don't think he understood that to begin with, and I think it showed. But I think it's also showing that he's pivoted, he's made some adjustments, he made some upgrades, some additional hires, and I expect to see is if they have a decent to good season, and I put the floor at 7 wins, I think they're going to be a good football team. And I think they're going to be a very well-coached football team. I think the defense is going to be much better under Jeff Schmedding. I think the offense is going to be better under Harsin. Let him run his deal. I think the floor is at 7 wins, and I think the ceiling is 9. And I think the median there being 8 wins this year with a potential 9th win in the bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who's all going to be here this coming weekend for Auburn as far as recruits
biggest guy?
go? What kind of guys should we be paying attention to?
Big guys, man. We've confirmed several guys coming in. Of course, 4 of the 5 commitments. Wilkie Denard will not be able to make it. He is starting practice this weekend, but some of the bigger name guys coming in is 4-star offensive tackle Bo Hughley, who is committed to Georgia, 4-star tight end Jelani Thurman, who is committed to Ohio State. Both of those guys are from Langston Hughes over in Fairburn, Georgia. Top targets for Auburn. Both will be making it in. A guy to really keep an eye on is Nebraska edge commitment, Ashley Williams. He's a 4-star kid from Zachary, Louisiana. He's coming up. I really feel like Auburn's got a really good shot to flip him. So he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. And there's also going to be some 2024 guys, some studs from in-state and out of state. 2 of the best quarterbacks in the class Aaron Nolan's coming over. He's a Langston Hughes guy. He's a 4-star quarterback. And then Adrian Posse is a 4-star quarterback from Miami. Really feel like Auburn has made a huge move for Posse and could possibly get a commitment from him. And then the 2024 class they've got coming in is really loaded. It's an impressive group, most of which is from the in-state. You've got Kavion Henderson, Jeremiah Beeman, Sterling Dixon's coming up from Mobile, Demarion Burnett, who is one of the best running backs in the country, Amon Lane, defensive back from Moody. He's another guy I expect could have a commitment this weekend. So a lot of guys from the 2024 class, and we talked about 2023 guys that making commitments in July. They have made commitments to other schools, but Auburn's able to get them back on campus with Bo Hughley, Jelani Thurman, Ashley Williams, and I wouldn't be surprised if Connor Liu, who is he was a center prospect from Kennesaw, Georgia. He's a 3-star guy, but, man, everybody that knows a lot more than these rankings guys think he is a Sunday player. He's going to be choosing next Friday between Auburn, Clemson, Georgia, and Miami, and really feel like Auburn's made a lot of headway with him. So he's another guy. If he does show up, I think that'll be a good sign for Auburn and his commitment next Friday.
Yeah, and I know from a smaller school in the state of Alabama, I know he camped at Auburn and ran – I heard in the 4.3s, but I know there's a defensive back prospect that's a fast-developing guy, a rising guy from Lochapoka who could be on commitment watch this weekend.
J.C. Hart, Jacorius Hart, absolutely. He is going to come. He's visited UCF. I know Gus Malzahn, Travis Williams, those guys down there are very aware of him. They got in on him early. He went down for an official visit earlier this week. But he's going to come back. I feel like Auburn is absolutely the team to beat for him. The only reason I wouldn't mention him and I did mention him. I mentioned him as a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason that's kind of holding me back from really projecting him to commit is he told me last week he wants to announce his commitment with his teammates, with his classmates, with his family, with his friends, with his coaches. Because it's a big deal at Lochapoka. The last person to come out of Lochapoka was Monte Pitts 20 years ago. So,
wow.
It's a big deal for that community, and he wants to share it with them. So I think you could see J.C. Hart come in and probably silently commit to Auburn, give him his word. Hey, I'm in. I'm going to announce, in 2 weeks. He wants school to start back, and then announce with everybody in his at his school. So but as I wrote, man, you never know with Big Cat. These kids get blown away and in the moment, and so he's definitely got to keep an eye on. Although right now I would expect him to maybe go. I think Connor Liu's going to commit next Friday, and I think Jacorius Hart can commit that next week.
Well, and as we're wrapping it up with you, Jeffrey, to circle back for our listeners and the Auburn fans tuning in, what kind of player is Wilkie Denaud? I know he's someone that the Auburn staff spent a lot of time on. I know he was blown away when he visited in June, and that kind of set the stage for this commitment. Yesterday, I know Keith Niebuhr was in attendance there at his high school, at John Carroll High School in Fort Pierce, Florida. But what kind of player is Auburn getting? And I know it was at a position of need because they need to add edge guys to this class.
Right. He is. He's very mature already physically. He's 6'4", 250 pounds. He's squatting 505 pounds, which I don't know if that's a lot, but it sounds like a lot. But he's quick off the edge. He can play edge right now in college as far as physically. But if he gains any more weight, he's going to be able to slide over to the 5, to that strong side end, kind of like Colby Wooden is playing now.
Mm-hmm.
Or he could even gain 25 more pounds and slide inside and be a 3 technique. So there's a lot of versatility with Wilkie Denaud. Auburn is recruiting him to play that edge position. They need those edges. They're going to take probably 4 edges in this class because they're losing everybody except for redshirt freshman Dylan Brooks. So everybody on the roster right now at the edge position is going to be gone after this year. So they're going to sign at 3 to 4, probably 4. So they're going to sign him as an edge. But I wouldn't be surprised 2 years from now, he's either at the strong side spot or even at the 3 technique. But you love the versatility. He's very smart. He's an early enrollee. Florida State wanted him. Tennessee wanted him. So it was a big win for Auburn to get him away from Florida State because Florida State had taken Keldrick Faulk from Auburn back earlier in the month. So big win all the way around for Auburn, perception-wise, and this kid's legit. He can play.
No doubt. Well, good stuff from Jeffrey Lee, and I know people need to follow you on Twitter. Follow Auburn Live on 3 for the updates throughout the weekend for Big Cat coming up. Let everybody know how to join you guys with the ever-growing community over at on3sports.com.
Yeah, Auburn Live on 3. We've got a special right now, man. $1 for the entire year. It's basically giving it away, and this is a great time to sign up because, like you said, Big Cat's coming up. Couple more commitments are going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. So come on in. We got a great community, great message board. Come join us.
Well, Jeffrey, we appreciate the time, man. Good stuff, and have a great weekend. We thank you for coming on and updating our listeners on Big Cat and the big commitment of Wilkie Renaud, the 5th piece of this class for Coach Brian Harsin in 2023. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me.
All right, let's get that final break in. Your tomorrow's headlines come your way when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still got an active search going on. It started near Greenbrier Parkway and Old Highway 20. They've been tracking through the woods near that area. Got a lot of law enforcement presence there. A person ran from a state trooper on a traffic stop. No hose, no mask. You could ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
At Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, people call the award-winning burgers totally insane, which is a compliment because Bad Daddy's Burgers are just that. Chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness built with premium Angus beef. They're bold and they're bad. Pair one with one of their signature cocktails or assortment of local craft brews. This Friday, you can get $50 worth of Bad Daddy goodness for just $25 with our Zone deals. Log on 977ESPN.com to get your Zone deal before they're gone.
Mercury Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, Mercury Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
In 1982, Bob Baumhauer introduced Alabama to the Buffalo Wild Wing, and quite frankly, we've never been the same. Back then, it was Wings and Things in Tuscaloosa, but now, 40 years later, after 4 name changes, Baumhauer's Victory Grill is the #1 sports-themed restaurant in the state. Bob's Alabama Hot Chicken is something that has to be tried to believe, plus the new Bam Bam Chicken and the Louisiana-style Go Fish, a whitefish over rice topped with shrimp etouffee. And Baumhauer's is fighting inflation with some new affordable favorites. Visit Baumhauer's on the South Parkway today.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our Zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 97.7 E
Hi, I'm Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia in Huntsville, Alabama. We are the proud transportation sponsors of Talking Ball at 97.7. ESPN The Zone.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And our good friend and current Omaha Storm Chaser, Brewer Hicklin, has had quite a good season. I mean, he's made a lot of great
AAA Storm Chaser, not actual. He's not with the Weather Service.
Right, he's with the AAA Omaha Storm Chasers.
Yes, he is, yes.
Of the Kansas City Royals. He's appeared in he's been up in the majors
twice.
for 4 major league games this year. A highlight for him.
Yes.
He's got 16 home runs, I think, in the minors right now. Had 15 before yesterday. Last night, Jacob deGrom, New York Mets pitcher, on a rehab assignment in AAA baseball, met Mr. Brewer Hicklin. This was the outcome.
Up. 1-2. Swinging a fly ball. Hit high and deep down the left field line. This ball is hooking fair. It's a home run. That, according to third base umpire Jose Matamoros, with an emphatic point to his right into fair territory, and then up in the air to signal home run. Brewer Hicklin with his 16th home run in AAA this season, and it's Omaha on the board.
Well, we hope he's going to be up permanently because we didn't really talk about it during the show, but there's been a major trade that the Royals have made. This could open the door for Brewer Hicklin to get called up and get some playing time. Andrew Benintendi, who will be a free agent after the season, has been traded to the New York Yankees for 3 pitching prospects from in the New York system, but Benintendi headed to the Yankees to hopefully lose. Like they did in the Subway Series. We appreciate the help with the Braves, you scumbags.
Yes. But so Brewer Hicklin there, you're going to remember that home run.
Yeah.
That coming off of the arm of
I hope Brewer Hicklin's first home run in the major leagues is against the Yankees. That would be really cool.
When we were at SEC Media Days, he was called up for a 3-game series in Toronto.
Yeah, for the vaccination series.
Yeah, the vaccination series. For those that don't know, the Royals had, I think, 10 guys, 11 guys that were not vaccinated and could not play in Toronto. Here's the thing, and we'll get to the Braves here in a second, but the question around Major League Baseball is, if the Blue Jays hold on and make a wild card spot, host a wild card game or host a playoff game, and that team is obviously, there's only one Canadian team, so everybody would be traveling from the States to Toronto. If they're not vaccinated for a playoff game, they can't play.
Well, supposedly Benintendi was not vaccinated, but he will by the time the Yankees come back in late September, trying to win their first World Series since 2009, which I hope they don't. But it was a big get for the Yankees. I mean, Benintendi's a really good hitter, good player, and he's headed to. And now Johnny Onicel is going to join us before we wrap up the show. What's up, Johnny?
Hey guys, does anybody really believe Harsin is an elite coach in your staff in that room right now?
Not an elite coach.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. The dude's kind of he's piping orange and blue, and they're struggling like crap on in recruiting, and they're struggling just about everywhere you can look right now. And he wants to say that he's a poor recruiter and an elite coach. Man, I don't think so.
I think he's a solid coach. And the recruiting, though, he didn't have a lot of ties to the South, but neither did Nick Saban. Some coaches understand recruiting, and some don't. And I think the biggest thing for Carson, though, that he's found out quickly is the level you have to recruit in the SEC, and you have to devote a lot of resources to it. That's why he had to beef up his off the field staff, and that's why he had to make some coaching changes. He didn't, and I don't think Mike Bobo was a good hire at OC last year.
I think he's finding out that you can't go and recruit 10 guys and to try to develop 6 guys for 3 years.
You got to get some studs, man.
Yes, you got to get guys that are ready.
Well, I mean, I get that, but I mean, surely he's moving into an administration that somebody's saying, hey, I mean, you're not just going to come in and somebody's going to, your athletic director's going to say, hey, bud, who you guys going to be your stud recruiter? Because, I mean, Auburn's university, I mean, the people around the athletic department, they know how bad it is. And, I mean, this is a dog-eat-dog world in our conference. And somebody should have, I don't know. I think the boy was stepping out of his element and out of his range when he came up to the league, and I still think he's that way.
Well, I mean, I think we can say that about Brian Hart. I mean, I think right now, after year one results of recruiting and on the field stuff, Brian Harsin probably
to be determined.
Still be determined. But I don't think it's any different than what Eli Drinkwitz is going through at Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz won at a high level before he got to Missouri and is finding out that life is very tough in the SEC.
And he's recruited at a higher level than Harsin so far. They've got to pick it up, no doubt.
Yes, there's 2 or 3 coaches that you can say that in the league.
And his ceiling's like a 7.
Mm-hmm. Well, they I definitely think they need to win 8 games for him to feel comfortable, because again, there's a lot of people that think he's not the right fit at Auburn, and so like Scott said earlier in the show, everything is going to be nitpicked, and there's going to be a microscope on everything. And this 5-game homestand to start the season is going to be huge for